Forbes Magazine named it one of the coolest new cars for 2020. Although entering a crowded electric vehicle space, Electra Meccanica has pulled away from the pack by offering consumers a three-wheeled micro vehicle where passengers ride solo, aptly named the Solo. Joining us remotely to discuss the novel concept of utility vehicles and the future of urban transportation is Paul Rivera, CEO of Canadian car company Electra Meccanica. Thanks for joining us today, Paul.
Thank you for having me, Annamaria.
Although electric vehicles are no longer a foreign concept to consumers, a single-rider microcar is going to take a little bit of educating to convince skeptical consumers used to traditional passenger vehicles. I want to start with a rundown of specs, range, price point, key features to give viewers a more detailed look at what we're talking about.
Yeah, a couple good points there. The first good point is that so many commuters today are leaving 3 to 5 empty spaces in their cars, right? Vehicles today are all sized around powertrains that expect the maximum number of people and the maximum payload. And this is a single purpose built vehicle. This is a really exciting vehicle that's meant for a single commuter, right? Hence the name Solo. And what's really cool about it is it still has a 100-mile range, which is more than adequate for most commuters to get to and from work. And it's chargeable in less than 6 hours on a 110 common household plug. And you can go very fast in it, too. You can go up to 90 miles per hour, so taking it onto the highway is not an issue whatsoever. You can overtake vehicles. You can accelerate onto an on-ramp. And the beautiful thing about this is that it does have the comfort features that any common vehicle would have. So it has a steering wheel, it has a seat that you're sitting in, it has a restraint system. You will be able to connect by Bluetooth. You'll have the ability to have Apple CarPlay at some point as well. So it's very unique in the sense that it's not like a motorcycle, which is a two-wheeled vehicle, and it's not like a passenger car, which is a four-wheel vehicle. It's in between. It is an autocycle. So it's got some really good performance as well as some nice comfort features that are inside the vehicle too.
Let's talk about this concept of a utilitarian commuter vehicle. Electra Meccanica is pursuing a very targeted market, the 83% of drivers in North America who commute alone. Tell us a little bit more about who you envisioned when you designed the Solo and why you settled on a 100-mile range, which is half the distance of market leader Tesla's vehicles.
Yeah, we're not out there to compete with the Teslas of the world. This is a completely different vehicle. This is single purpose built for a single commuter. The facts are that 76% of Americans today, they like to drive their own car and they're alone when they drive to work. So they're leaving 3 to 5 empty seats in a vehicle at any given time. The average commute in the morning is 16 miles each direction, right? The Solo has a range of 100 miles. So way more range than needed for the average commuter. This is for the trendsetters. This is for somebody that wants to be unique and be different and look cool and hip when they arrive to a place. The Solo is designed for that single commuter that understands the benefits of being environmentally friendly and at the same time saving money, right? It's an efficient way of getting to and from the office and not worrying about the fact that you don't have the extra passengers in the car with you and you don't have a huge trunk and you're not driving a vehicle where the powertrain has been sized for maximum capacity, right? And the reality of this is that people will be excited and able to park this vehicle and save money because the operating costs are a lot less in this vehicle than any type of combustion engine that's out there right now.
Micromobility is a booming industry. We've seen rapid adoption of ride-hailing services and car alternatives like City Bike and Bird electric scooters. Where does the Solo fall in this transportation gap that is micromobility?
Yeah, micromobility. When you think about the fact that today you go down city streets and you see electric bikes and you see scooters passing you by, it's such a different concept. And if you think about it, those are single passenger vehicles as well, right? And then on the other end of the scale, you have the typical passenger car. What's great about the Solo is that it sits right between those two bookmarks. It's perfect for people that don't want to take the risk of riding on a scooter or riding on an electric bike, and they want the comfort features of being in an enclosed vehicle, but at the same time, they don't need a passenger car. And you can see that this would be perfect for those adopters as well that are trying to find a way to still use shared mobility and use it in a way that they can maybe pick up the car on one side of the city and drop it on the other side of the city and still have the same benefits that they would be getting from some of these little micro-mobility companies that are in the scooter and electric bike space too.
The city car is a segment of the car industry that has typically struggled in the US. For example, the Fiat is phasing out the 500 after less than impressive sales. How has Electra Meccanica learned from the industry's previous attempts, and how does the Solo provide a better option?
I've been in this business for more than 25 years, and I've seen what works and what doesn't work. I think one of the reasons why it's so different is because it's very different looking. Its styling is unique. You get so many different people coming up to you, because I drive one. You get so many different people coming up to you when you take it to a shopping center or to a restaurant. People want to learn about it. They want to understand what technology is inside it. What makes it so unique is the fact that it's not like a passenger car that's been out for many years and then a manufacturer has tried to make it an electric vehicle and then fit people into that model. But also part of it is the fact that it's in that niche between a passenger car and a two-wheeled vehicle. It's that auto cycle niche that we're really going after. So I think it's quite different. The price point's quite different. And you're not trying to convince people to take a conventional car that's an EV, something that looks like a conventional car that's an EV. This makes a statement. This is so completely different. And I think that that's what will give it the success.
I think an interesting thing to point out is that since the vehicle is at full capacity with a single rider, it qualifies for HOV lanes. Does the Solo also qualify for tax credits and low emissions rebates, which have been major selling points for other electric vehicles?
Yeah, I'm proud to say it does. That's what also makes this vehicle very, very exciting. Yes, you can get into the HOV lanes, which is very important in some big cities, right? Especially in Southern California. But states are offering incentives for buyers to go and get this vehicle. So, for example, in California authorizes $900 incentive for the vehicle. Oregon has just authorized a $2,500 incentive for the vehicle. Very, very big. State by state, it's a little bit different, but there's a lot of incentives to go and buy the vehicle.
Beyond the commuter, there seems to be quite a few B2B applications, which isn't really surprising since the Solo has been marketed as a task vehicle for individuals. The lack of fuel and compact nature also make it ideal for delivery services like Amazon, as well as car share companies like Zipcar. Do you plan to target any of these commercial opportunities?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, when we first came out with this vehicle, we were thinking at the time that it would be a really cool and hip consumer vehicle with the commuter in mind. We've had so much interest from fleets and from that last mile served category and from the delivery services. There's so many reasons why a company like Amazon would want to use this car in the middle of cities, especially where there's congestion taxes now if you're driving an internal combustion vehicle. And this car is small also, so it's easier to park. You can picture Amazon driving. You can picture companies like Domino's driving it. You could even picture that, for example, hotels could have these cars in front of their locations, right? And as a business person, you come out in the morning, and as an option, you could go right downstairs and get into your Solo and drive the Solo across town and drop it off to another side of the city or take it to your meetings for the day. Very, very different. So there's a lot of applications out there that are now being investigated that we never even thought of, and it's super exciting for us.
I want to briefly touch on what's next for the Solo and Electra Meccanica. I know you have a convertible two-seater vehicle coming out, the Tofino. So what can we expect to see from your company in the next few years?
So for clarification, the Tofino is in development right now. We're just in the process of developing, and we're very, very excited. We do have ambitions beyond the Solo, but this year is to focus really on executing the Solo and making sure that we get it right. We want to get it right the first time. We want to put a safe, reliable vehicle on the road right now. We want to concentrate on the storefronts, concentrate on the customer experience, on the service side, making sure all of those little details, which are important, are executed appropriately. And then we will work on the Tofino.
Well, urban commuters in crowded areas like San Francisco and Los Angeles seem to be responding positively to the concept. So it certainly seems like a tiny car with some huge potential. We'll definitely be keeping a lookout for the Solo on the road and in the news. Thank you again for joining us today, Paul.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate the opportunity.